It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He's Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley. Hey, it's Friday. We got that going for us. Gary, what's up?
Well, as we just look over this past week, I think the biggest media story, and it got some play, but it should get a lot of play because I think, you know, you've heard the term jump the shark, but I think the media story of the week was Jim Acosta interviewing the AI hologram of a dead young man and doing an interview.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that because it was almost it happened. The left isn't going to really touch it. The right hit it for a day. But when you think about that, because you go back and you look at Acosta and how he was the darling of the left when he would take on Trump and everything else. And we've talked about, for example, you know, how the mighty have fallen, the Keith Olbermann from his basement, the resistance, and you think about Acosta challenging Trump, and he's the hero. And what is he doing now? He's interviewing scripted AI holograms.
Yeah.
Hulagrams. Hula hoop grams. It's just, think about that. Think about and we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about the mindset of the left. But think about that. He thinks he is somehow, he's opened up a new door to journalism.
No, he thinks he's a pioneer.
I'm a trailblazer. I mean, it's just.
Well, it's the same kind of lazy, I won't even say journalism, the same kind of lazy work that he did at CNN for years, except for at CNN, he would just lie.
Yeah.
You could just make things up. So after years of just making things up, he interviews something that is not real. Pretty much the same thing. I think he's just looking for an easier way to do nothing. And thinks at the same time he's a hero.
I just think we need to make note of this week, the first full week of August of 2025, when now the left believes that interviewing a scripted AI hologram is somehow a new pioneering way of journalism. And it doesn't come from somebody who wasn't in the mainstream media. It doesn't come from somebody who had a podcast, you know, just some general person go, okay, let's do this. Because that still would have made news going, these people are nuts.
Right.
This comes from Jim Acosta, who was considered probably one of the top leftist media people in the United States just a couple of years ago. And this is what he's doing now. And I just want to make sure that we make note of it.
I'm pretty sure.
Because I think it's a huge media story that hasn't been covered enough this week.
Well, and it comes, you know, it is this full circle here. By the way, I'm pretty sure that people were mentioning his name as the possible Veep on the ticket with Michael Avenatti. That whole nonsense thing. And it's
I'm sorry, that was funny.
It's just very interesting that we're at this point now, and I think you have a number of people, I can't quantify it, but I think there's a great number of people just now learning that the dossier was bogus. And where did Jim Acosta make his bones? Talking about the BuzzFeed article that CNN reported on. CNN reported on the BuzzFeed article because before that, BuzzFeed was just who? And Jim Acosta, during the transition period after the 2016 election, confronted Trump in a ballroom somewhere, and he was thrown out. And that's where the media adoration for Jim Acosta began. Oh, look, he's being thrown out by the government. Well, actually, then President-elect Trump was not. That was not, number one, not government property they were on, and number two, he wasn't president yet. But that's where the adoration began. It was all over the dossier story. That's what Jim Acosta was covering. That's where he made his name at CNN. That's what started his rise at CNN. And by the way, the first time he was thrown out, not the second time he was thrown out. Don't get those confused.
Right.
The second time he was thrown out, people still don't know. A lot of people don't know because they never play the full audio cut. In the moments leading up to it, when Jim Acosta had been given multiple chances to ask follow-ups and was hogging the mic, according to other reporters in that room, President Trump was talking about, we want people to come here legally. Of course, they couldn't put that out there as a part of the audio cut. They had to make the entire thing about making Jim Acosta the hero when other journalists or reporters in that room didn't believe that then. So it's kind of justice that we're at this point when he just has nothing else. There is nothing else left. Well, quite frankly, he never had anything from the beginning.
No, I didn't think so. I never thought he, even as somebody on the left, had really anything of substance. But then again, who does right now? But just so you know what he wrote on it. And then we'll play the just a little bit of the audio from it. A show you don't want to miss. I'll be having a one-of-a-kind interview with Joaquin Oliver. What? You mean? He died in the Parkland school shooting in 2018, but his parents have created an AI version of their son to deliver a powerful message on gun violence. But he talks to the AI hologram as if he's actually having an interview. It's the most bizarre thing ever. Right. Here it is. Here we go. Okay.
Joaquin, I would like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, Joaquin.
I mean, it's just, I understand the grief of the parents. This is outside of the grief of the parents wanting to do this.
If the parents put out an AI version of their son and said, this is a video we made, this is what we believe the thoughts would be of our son today, this is what he would be fighting for today, I wouldn't fault the parents for doing that. But that's not what happened here. Jim Acosta took it and ran with it. It would be one thing if Jim Acosta said just that. The parents have created an AI version of their son, which I think is interesting. So here is his son's statement based on what his parents believe he would feel if he were with us today. And then you play the audio, and then that's it.
But he was talking to him as if he was an alive human being.
Yes.
It's just,
it's weird.
It's just every time I think they've taken it to the limit. Every time they just take it to another level. And this is where you sit there and think, what kind of delusional mind does Jim Acosta have where he actually, because you think about it, it's like my audience will buy that I'm having a conversation back and forth.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Well, I think that's a good question to ask. I mean, it's just,
yeah.
They took it to another level. They took it. They keep doing it. And like I said, he thinks that's the whole point. He thinks he's a pioneer. I'll be having a one-of-a-kind interview. No, you're not having an interview.
No.
That AI program that's scripted is not a sentient human being.
Right.
Who is responding to your questions and your cross-examination.
Well,
it's all scripted.
Right. If you're just gonna make it up as you go along, just go ahead and make everything up.
So it's a Friday. I just couldn't let it go without bringing it up one more time, because it's just one of the things. If you want to know why the media has failed miserably, you now know.
Yep, that's it. I mean, really, that's it. That's the level of their critical thinking on full display right there, which is why their audiences are going away. You know, it's not just that they're biased or they're activists. For the Jim Acostas, the Stephen Colberts, any of them, the Howard Sterns, they just lack critical thinking skills. And they have one tactic. And it's not even working for their own side. And the reason it's not is because, Gary, if you and I started almost 9 years ago, 8.5 years ago or so, in January of 2017 on the whole Russian collusion hoax thing, if we started there and then we got to where we are now with no evidence, no documentation, nothing, just people saying things, we'd say, look, for the GOP, for the Trump administration, for whoever it is, if you're going to bring these charges, if you're going to bring these allegations or whatever, you got to bring something. It's why in the spring of 2017, Sarah A. Carter, John Solomon, working at Circa News at the time, brought some court documents about what the Obama administration had done, and it was kind of connected to this whole thing. And we're looking at that going, okay, all right. So if you're on the left, everything that they've been accusing Trump of doing or the GOP, the right of doing, how much do you know if you're watching these liberal activists in the media or Stephen Colbert or any of them and listening to them and they're making these allegations with all of this fake anger that they have attached to it? Sometimes it's real anger because they're just losing their minds. Then you have to ask yourself, what is it that they've actually presented? Even on the Trump tax returns, Rachel Maddow messed the bed on that whole thing. And I mean full stop. She goes on for 45 minutes of her show. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And in the last segment, it's nothing. And time after time after time, it's been just that.
Because you made the point yesterday when we were talking about the leftist media that even their own, the people that support them, are looking at them going, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you
You're not bringing
you
anything.
use the Rachel Maddow the tax return as an example, but
right.
I wonder if you're on the left. Again, though, they may look at it and go, "That's a great point," because as long as we're getting our as long as we're getting our gun control message out there, anything that will gather any type of news or go viral is something that we want. But I just look at it and just say, you lose the gun. If you're trying to convince people that your gun control message is legit, you're not going to do it by doing this. All you're going to do is be mocked incessantly.
Yeah.
And the fact that he okay, I'm looking at here. Accounts Acosta follows or mentioned only can reply. I see one apply. So he keeps all comments out of it. I wanted to see what the response was to, what his own viewers would say about it, the people that are fans.
Right.
Because it really is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. And I will say this, it is true. If you look at this interview, he is evolving into Rachel Maddow.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
He looks more like Rachel Maddow every single day.
Yeah.
Every time I see him again,
Right.
I'm like, well, who's that? With those glasses?
Yeah, they're all becoming one avatar. Well, I mean, Colbert. Colbert's not far from Rachel Maddow.
Exactly.
Same haircut, same glasses.
Is there this push out there? Is that what's going on?
Look, she seems to be the standard.
Wow.
At least unlike Colbert, she has some ratings.
Well, you think about it. You and I always go back to the lawsuit that was filed against Rachel Maddow.
Oh, yeah.
And the Obama judge that came out and said, come on, it's Rachel Maddow.
Right.
Nobody expects she's going to tell the truth. This was the Obama judge that said that.
Right.
It was the most bizarre thing ever. Sorry, you don't have a lawsuit. She can't defame you because nobody... Think about that. The judge said, Rachel Maddow can't defame anybody because she's such a pathological liar that nobody would believe her anyway.
Right. There's zero credibility in anything that happens on her show.
And it wasn't, by the way, a conservative judge. It was an Obama judge.
Exactly.
That's the way they got out. Okay, we found a way. We found a way where they can't win the lawsuit. Let's come out and just say that Rachel Maddow is a pathological liar. And come on, nobody would believe her. Nobody would actually take her seriously. Oh my God.
After that, you would want to quit. And she all but has quit.
There's some quiet quitting in there, isn't it?
There's
One day
a lot
a week.
of quiet quitting going on at MSNBC.
We got a great show today. 866-90 Red Eye.
Hi there, this is Hope Zavara with Mother Trucker Yoga, and here's your health tip of the day. Healthy driver, healthy diesel, powered by House. Truck drivers are at high risk for carpal tunnel and grip issues from long hours at the wheel, leading to pain, stiffness, and weakness over time. Let's fix that right at the wheel. Using your steering wheel, stretch one finger at a time, starting from your thumb to your pinky. Hold each of those for 10 seconds. Then place all 4 fingers on the wheel and gently press and stretch your palm and wrist. Hold for another 10 seconds. Don't forget to do the other hand. Do this 2 to 3 times a day to keep your hands mobile, strong, and ready for action. There you go. Small, simple changes that can lead to big results so you can feel good again. Visit mothertruckeryoga.com and houseproducts.com.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
And we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Hurley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up on the show today, ton of stuff internationally that we will get to. First off, with Israel, they made the decision they're going to go in into Gaza and wipe out Hamas.
Netanyahu gets the approval of the Security Council, and so it's going to happen.
We'll get to that coming up. You saw one thing, another story that I saw over there. Lebanon saying anybody who's not a part of the government gets disarmed. That means Hezbollah. Just making that statement alone is pretty mind-boggling. And the whole thing about the United States, because I was sitting there looking, I said, well, what's the goal of this? And this was Attorney General Bondi offers a $50 million arrest for the Venezuelan president, Maduro.
Right.
And it was $25 million. It's up to $50. And it's like, okay, why did you do that? We'll get to that coming up. 866-90 Red Eye.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. We're trying to clear off the desk here because the weekend's here, and so this is basically our Friday work day,
Right?
And so this caught my eye yesterday. Before we actually get to the current news of yesterday, and there's some really big news. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that based on a narrative that we've been talking about this week, saying because we always get why can't we come together on certain things, and we went because as we said yesterday, you can't even understand. There's no connecting the dots. There is no critical thinking skills coming from the left. Now, I saw this yesterday, and I saw this 5 or 6 times. So it means if I see it 5 or 6 times from the people that I see, this thing it went viral.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it was this headline. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it was just the headline, and nobody was saying where the headline came from. I mean, who wrote this? Who wrote this article? You saw the author, but all you saw was the headline. It was like, well, where did this come from? And the headline was, masculinity is crippling society. Could trans men be the key to changing that? Trans men have a gift to give the conversation about masculinity since they are used to questioning traditional gender ideals, one journalist writes. And I'm like, and so everybody, I'm looking at this headline and people going, that's nuts, that's nuts. And I'm thinking to myself, who's writing this? What publication did it come from? And I went, oh, okay, let me just type into Google that headline. Mm-hmm. And it came out. And it was from LGBTQnation.com. Molly Spray Reagan. Masculinity is crippling society. Could trans men be the key to changing that? I don't even have to go and read the article at all. The headline says it all. You're nuts.
Yeah. Look, if they, didn't they already have their new run at masculine, the masculine toxicity?
Yeah.
It was Tim Walz.
Yeah.
Remember, he was changing it. He's softening masculinity. Yeah, we know.
Remember, Republicans are afraid of Tim Walz and his new form of masculinity. And it says here, men have long felt compelled to publicly perform masculinity. I mean, this is not my real voice. This is my voice, actually. Hi, how's everybody doing today?
Yeah.
I just deepen it a lot because I want to make sure that people know that I have this incredible masculinity.
And also, jazz hands.
It goes, in short, the pressure for men to be manly is crippling society. Well, I don't think I'm going to ask this writer about the Sydney Sweeney situation.
Probably not.
Such is the subject of an in-depth exploration of masculinity by journalist Jude Ellison Doyle, a trans man who posts that we must look towards trans folks to start shifting the way society sees gender roles. This is where I look at this, and you and I said this a long time ago, and we had warned the gay community. You're not going to agree with what's going on here. Because I'll tell you this, of all the gay people I know, nobody would agree with this. And I'm talking gay men. None. None would agree with this article. Not one. And that's where we said, you throw the transgender thing, and we know that it's a big deal. You look at, for example, a Martina Navratilova. You see other, especially gay women, lesbians, who constantly are looking at the radical transgender movement and saying, this is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of crap that is accepted on the left. And I say that as Nancy Pelosi came out yesterday, and you saw her, about surgeries for, sex changes, whatever. Oh, excuse me, gender affirming care.
Yeah, we got to get it right.
Gender affirming.
Yeah. Someone might put a warrant out for our arrest if we don't get it right.
Yeah, make sure we have gender cutting off your body parts.
Yeah.
If you're an adult and you wish to do that and you wish to pay for it on your own, go ahead and do it.
Yep.
If you're a child, stop it. But it's this kind of insanity. Masculinity is crippling society. Could trans men be the key to changing that? Which is really interesting, because what the author is saying is, could women be the key to changing men? Well, how do you deal with the fact that you're all behind men competing against women, biological women, and if the biological women don't like it, you bully and you threaten them? How can you do both? How can women define men, but men order women around and tell women what women are? This is the thing. This is where, and I know your mind is going exactly where my mind's, which is like, this is like a calculus problem that you'll never solve because it actually isn't built on any type of science or mathematics or anything that connects any of the dots or any type of critical thinking whatsoever. It's just throw crap at the wall and see what can stick, and it doesn't matter whether it makes any sense or not. And they're really telling the world we're nuts.
That's basically it. But they write these things as if it's already the truth.
Yeah.
You know, in order to paint the false narrative, you've got to lead people down weird rabbit holes.
That's a rabbit hole.
You got to take it, and it's like, well, the story's not finished because it never is. It can't be. If the agenda is going to stay alive, it's got to go one step further every time.
Masculinity is crippling society.
Well, but here's my question.
So could women change that? Could women be the key to changing that masculinity is crippling society?
Now, on the right, our answer to the following is no. But on the left, what is your answer to, was Tim Walz too masculine? Remember what he said? I'm the permission structure for guys who work on their football and listen to their trucks or whatever. I'm the guy. Basically, I'm the guy's guy. Did the left see him? It's funny to think about this because it's laughable. But was the problem that on the left that Tim Walz was too masculine? He was toxic?
And that would be really be I like that. That would be interesting.
Yeah, because
did they view is because he was so rapidly, well, maybe that's it. Maybe the headline was Tim Walz's masculinity is crippling society.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was supposed to be.
Right. You know, for them, yeah, he had jazz hands, but they had calluses on him.
And he likes football.
That's right. And apparently can identify what a truck is.
And calluses. I'm not even going to. I'm just moving on.
Out in the garage, changing the
oh, that's right.
turning signal fluid.
We're working on the car.
Yeah.
We're men here. We're going to go home and we're going to work on the car.
Yeah.
And we're going to watch football this weekend.
Right.
And we're going to drink a couple of beers.
And as far as I know, he didn't once mention soccer.
No.
So it might be that they saw him as far too masculine.
I might have a beer this weekend, but even though I have type 2 diabetes, it's not going to be a low-carb light beer because I'm a man.
I'm going to do tequila shots while I'm mowing the lawn. Never tried that before.
I will say one thing that I disagree with in judging masculinity in our pop culture. That if I want a sweet, fruity drink, that should not define my sexuality or my masculinity.
Well, then go with it.
Because
make sure you get a straw too,
if and a little umbrella.
Yeah.
The
cherry and the whipped cream and all of it.
When do my taste buds define my masculinity?
Well, it's your call. You should sit at the bar. You should sit at the highest seat of the bar and drink that.
If you're a man, you drink alcohol that tastes like crap,
and
bourbon or scotch.
And then at the end of it, yeah, if it doesn't burn, you're not a man. And that applies to everything. That applies to everything. Exfoliate? That's what the weed trimmer's for. What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I mean, but this
I don't need lotion on my hands. I have WD-40 everywhere.
But if you, well, I'm not going anywhere with that. If you can't understand, well, excuse me, if you're confused as to why we can't communicate with the left, the last 10 minutes will tell you why.
Well, again, this is weird.
I know.
I mean, it's just bizarre. Like they think this is going, and they always approach it as if it's, things like this when they appear, articles like this, stories, conversations like this, they're pretty much short-lived every time. But they're presented as if it's going to take off, as if it's going to be a thing, as if, oh my gosh, we've discovered something that is the truth. And it's been here all along. Why didn't we see it?
And finally, and from the masculinity front, this story, which we didn't get to.
I will say this, by the way. Chaz Bono is more masculine than Tim Walz.
And I didn't know how to approach this particular topic, but I realized with the topic we just brought up with masculinity, it does fit. The New York Post headline, "Stressed adults rely on pacifiers to soothe themselves. I feel a sense of safety from childhood." Now, it actually is from China. This is a surprising stress-busting move thousands of young adults in China are making. By the way, China will never defeat us if this is actually what's going on in China.
Or this is new psyops from China. Listen, we think we could get this to take off in America pretty quickly. We just need you guys to pose for the camera. Just pose for the camera with a pacifier in your mouth.
Once a niche quirk, the silicone soothers are supposedly now big business on China e-commerce giants, where they're priced anywhere from a budget-friendly $1.40 to the luxury adult pacifier, $70.
When my grandkids were babies, we could get them like 3 for $1, $1.40 on the budget side. What?
And fans aren't shy about why. When I'm under pressure at work, I feel a sense of safety from childhood, said one Chinese adult pacifier buyer.
By the way, what are they dipping the pacifier in?
I was going to say, it's like, what kind of...
This is what I want to know. It's like, oh yeah, this keeps us calm. Yeah, what have you dipped it in?
Yeah.
What are you nibbling on there, man?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I mean, because that would be... Now, if you told me that young people around the world are dipping it in some kind of, I don't know, gas station heroin, whatever is going on with them today.
Then it would make sense.
I see all these articles about, the officials say this is gas station heroin, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm just trying to get, 20 gallons of unleaded.
Yeah.
Maybe a Diet Coke.
We can end this conversation with an ex-post. Jeffrey just wrote to us.
All right.
And this is an absolutely true statement. If Tim Walz is too masculine, then Gary McNamara is absolutely too good-looking.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There you go. Now, that's a large contingency. That's a very conditional statement, but you got something there.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are masculine, red-blooded radio here. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome to Red Eye Radio. Coming up following the top of the hour, Trump saying we need to take another census and not count illegal immigrants. We'll get to that. The latest on Israel. Whole bunch of other different things going on out there. We like to talk about Beto. Beto-led group under investigation over potential bribes.
Uh-oh.
That applies here. And Anita Dunn, who was part of the Biden administration, testified to the House Oversight Committee on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons that Biden didn't do the Super Bowl interview was, we'll tell you coming up next.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
That sounded a little contrived.
I meant it.
Like you were going through the motions.
No, Gary, I meant it.
Oh, and unless this is AI, Eric.
I'm real, Gary. How are you?
I'm doing good, Eric.
Oh, that's awful.
So,
it has to be real, Eric, then.
I can't even fake the Jim Acosta thing. It's so ridiculous.
Fake? What do you mean fake?
Sorry. I don't think that's one of the funniest damn things ever. And again, not because of the grief of the parents.
No.
Again, it's because Acosta was trying to legitimately and still is trying to legitimately sell it as
an interview.
As an interview. It's a back and forth discussion.
How do you not say this?
With a sentient human being. Go ahead.
Right. How do you not say this? With help from his parents, here is a statement. They believe this is what the sentiment he would have conveyed if he were still with us today. Here's the statement.
Right. Yeah.
And then you interview the parents as to the effort behind the AI version of their son and all of that. Because he wants it to be something that it's not. Is he living in this delusional, well, yes, he is living in a delusional world, but is his delusional world so bad, Jim Acosta, that he's buying into his own hype?
Well, this gets me back to what I've always said. I wish, just for the sake of understanding how other human minds work, that Spock would do a Vulcan mind meld on me when a liberal says something, when they take a narrative which is just ridiculous, to find out what goes on inside those minds. I would love to find out. That would be my kind of fantasy, just to be able to sit and come on the air the next day and said, did a Vulcan mind mold yesterday and went into Jim Acosta's mind. And, my God, it was insanity. And I thought I was going to have a better understanding when going into his mind, and I didn't.
Worse. It made it so much worse. Exactly. You know, if I'm going to have a Star Trek related fantasy, then it's going to be Synthoweed. like Synthahol and what was that Star Trek New Generation,
That
right?
would have been the Next Generation.
Next
yes.
Generation, yeah.
With Whoopi as the
With
bartender.
Whoopi as the bartender. And Synthahol was that you could drink and get hammered, but the moment you left the bar, you were completely sober.
Right.
Synthaweed.
Well,
Synthaweed. You just turn it off.
I have to ask the questions because I see it on social media now all the time.
Yeah.
By the way, anything we talk about on the air ends up on my phone.
Mm-hmm. I know.
With all these massive advertisements. It's like, okay, they're listening. Because I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Why am I getting all these ads for this? Oh, I talked about it on the air last night.
Right. Exactly.
But I see the ads, and it's like, stay away from alcohol. Alcohol is bad. Here's this new drink. And I'm like, well, what's in it? It's, it's weed.
It's weed or the microdose of, I'm guessing mushrooms?
I don't know.
I don't even know how that's, because it says microdose, and it doesn't say what it is. By the way, that is the most dangerous part of legalization. You better identify what you've got, what your product is. Someone looking at your product needs to know exactly what
that's
that
a huge
is.
That's huge lawsuits waiting to happen.
I think there's a ton of them, and if you want to go back to weed prohibition, that's the fastest way to get there. Is through those lawsuits, and people, again, being harmed, and they sue, and then it's how it's going to work.
Wow. Mm. So how can this be legal? Because I've seen the mushroom drinks. I've never actually done the research on it until right now.
Right. Yeah.
Understanding microdose mushroom drinks. Microdose mushroom drinks are beverages that typically
mm-hmm. or tippily.
I'm a little bit tippily on the show today. That typically contain a small sub-perceptual amount of psilocybin. The compound found in magic
legal?
Mushrooms. I don't know. This means that the dose is meant to be too small to cause hallucinogenic effects or a trip, but proponents claim it may offer other benefits to improve mood, creativity, and focus.
Focus.
It said beyond the primary ingredient, microdose mushroom drinks may also include other ingredients believed to enhance the potential effects or provide additional benefits.
Benefits.
Dude, cut it out, man. And then all these supplements that they have in there, serotonin stuff, flavor, so. Yeah, you're right. How is it?
I don't know how that's legal. I saw the ad for it. I still don't get it. Yeah.
It's important to note that psilocybin remains a Schedule I controlled substance under federal law in the United States, meaning its use and possession are illegal. However, some states and cities have decriminalized or legalized psilocybin for certain purposes. I just haven't paid much attention to that or really what's going on. One of the things with the Texas legislature out is they're trying to redo the whole banning weed, which was going to ban everything. Mm-hmm. The Delta 8, Delta 9, whatever the Delta Dawn,
the Delta,
the Delta, yeah, exactly. And I didn't know until probably you're the one that told me. We were talking about something, and you said, I think you told me like maybe a year or two ago, we go, weed is legal here. I go, no, it's not. You go, yeah, it is. And we went through and looked at the agricultural bill of 2018. And
yeah, well, the THC, I guess the lawmakers and the lieutenant governor calling it a loophole, but the THC amounts, aggregate weight of 0.03 was legal. And so we do have a very limited, and it's becoming more limited, medical marijuana in Texas, but it's almost nobody has it.
Well, but it was funny because it was 2019, I believe, that in my town we just legalized liquor stores.
Yeah, I don't even have that. I
Yeah,
got beer and wine in my town.
I was in a dry town that had you could get beer or wine at the grocery store.
Yeah.
But it was still at that point. I mean, it just goes back a few years ago. You had to remember. You don't have to do it anymore. Remember the membership?
Yeah.
To go into bars,
Right.
Because bars were private clubs,
Right. That's what they have in our town. If you go to a restaurant and you order an alcohol drink, a mixed drink, then they charge you like, I don't know, 10 cents for the membership or something.
Yeah, that's gone in my town now. So when liquor stores started popping up, I was like, what's going on here? And then the funny thing is, I live in a neighborhood with relatively young people. It's relative. It's a majority where I live is probably 60-40 Democrat.
Yeah.
When the first liquor store, I live in this peninsula, and when I moved there 18 years ago, this peninsula of the lake, there were no traffic signals, and the whole development's about probably 5,000 homes, and now all the homes are there. And now they're building retail over the last 5 years, not a lot, but just enough retail, gas stations. When the liquor store came on the peninsula, you should have seen next door, and it's all these young people. It's not. Older people, it's all these young people saying, we don't want that liquor influence. Well, all of a sudden, I didn't know until, I just didn't pay attention, to it. I just didn't know that, the whole agriculture bill of 2018 and what that would actually do, the loopholes that all these companies found. And now they're saying there's like 8,000 vape shops in the United States. I didn't know till like a year ago.
I think there's 8,000 in our state.
In our state, what'd I say?
Yeah, in the United States.
Oh, I meant, in our state.
Yeah.
And right around the corner, I was going down because there's another new plaza. I went, oh, there's another sports bar. And I went, up, there's another vape place. Well, they've got confidence that it's going to remain legal. But the vape shops now, and I thought when I saw them popping up a couple years ago, I thought, wow, all these people really vaping, tobacco? I had no idea.
No, and it's also not about CBD.
No, it's not.
No.
It's
about THC.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, whoa. And I think probably there's about, I don't know, 5 within a 3-mile radius of me right now.
Yeah.
And then liquor stores all over the place. And I'm just, it's like, and the amazing thing is young people. But it's interesting because when they talk about all these things, the microdosing of this can help you do it. I know for me that the best thing, I really don't think, I know they talk about the supplements and ginkgo and everything else. I don't believe any of that helps. I believe what helps is a good diet and getting a lot of sleep.
Yeah. Like for memory or for what?
For everything, for quickness, I just see all these different supplements. This will help you think better. This will help you do that. I don't know, the whole supplement business to begin with. We talk about prescriptions and pharmaceutical companies. I think some of the biggest con out there are the supplement stuff. And and by the way, I take supplements.
Yeah.
But all the supplements.
Outside of vitamins, I'm with you. I think the problem is that because there's no regulation, not that I'm calling for regulation, but in that arena, there's no check and balance. So you don't know if you're basically getting the placebo effect or anything else. On vitamins, totally on board with a full-on B regimen, which now they're learning, and they've learned in recent years, that your gut is actually your brain. And gut health is the key to not only mental health, but also the prevention or at least mitigation of neurological issues and diseases. And something that I know that the Michael J. Fox Foundation was on. I mean, they just, when this new research came out about vitamin B, they put out this, a whole ton of press releases. Saw some more about MS just earlier this week. But those are vitamins that, again, they may not have the same standard as the pharmaceutical stuff, but you know what you're getting for the most part.
Well, they also talk about vitamin D, and is vitamin D, helping to prevent cancer. But for me, my supplements, basically, I take one because for cholesterol, which the doctor, approved of.
Yeah, I'm on a weekly vitamin D.
And then for myself, and, I will, if I eat a lot of fish because I have slight eczema. And it really goes away if I take vitamin E, vitamin D, and I eat fish.
Right.
Or if I can't eat fish, have a fish oil pill.
Right.
Now, I've been told the fish oil pills are useless, but
yeah,
I don't know whether that's true or not. But I will tell you this, that I started getting bad eczema a few years ago on my ankle. I have none right now. I've got none. If it gets really dry out, if it gets real dry out, and if I decided to play the guitar again, my fingertips would break out. They would crack up. But other than that, it's, it took away about 80% of it. And I don't want to go on it. I know people have, skin diseases where they take the steroids. I just would never want to approach that.
Yeah.
But I look at this, I see the mushroom drinks advertised everywhere. But if they don't get you high, why would anybody do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the appeal. The seltzer company, Celsius, had an issue recently where there was a recall because their alcohol version had gotten into the non-alcohol cans. And so they did a recall. It was just a handful of states. They said something happened and the can showed up at the wrong can showed up basically at the alcohol plant. And that's one thing that, when that started, the hard sodas stuff, it's like I bought one of those hard grape sodas one time, got it home, cracked it open, and then took 2 steps, and I was like, no, this isn't what I wanted. I just wanted a grape soda.
I will tell you, when I've never had one. I used to love grape soda. They have the grape soda and the orange soda.
Yeah.
I'm tempted, but I've never, but it's not for the alcohol.
Right.
It's like, I haven't had a grape soda like that since I was a kid. You know what actually keeps me from getting it? The sugar content.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter to me as a type 2 diabetic that it's natural cane sugar.
Well,
that has no health benefits to me at all. But it's natural cane sugar. Is it sugar or starch?
Well, yeah. Sorry. I think it becomes dangerous in the world where everybody's doing edibles and now drinkables or whatever. And you've got something looking like something else, tasting like something else. You got to be very, very clear on your labeling, because I think we'll get back to prohibition very quickly if they don't.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
After fuel, an owner-operator's second biggest variable cost is tires. To save, get as much life out of them as possible with good habits. Maintain proper inflation. It's free and easy, yet it's the highest saving maintenance you can perform on the truck. Improper inflation is by far the greatest reason tires fail early. Perform routine maintenance. If a technician can by hand initiate irregular movements in tie rod ends, kingpins, wheel bearings, and torque rods, that spells trouble. Fight irregular wear by replacing suspension components. On the steer axle, change your shocks at least as often as you change your tires. On the drive axle, replace shocks halfway through the tire's life, and when the tires are changed too. Finally, employ good driving habits. You have full control here. More conservative driving over rough surfaces helps reduce wear. Speeding, hard braking, curbing, and tight turns cause tires to wear fast. On the other hand, steady acceleration, braking, and steering can extend the life, saving a bundle. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section on the website for more details on this and many other topics.
Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up on the bottom of the hour, Israel saying we're going to take over the entire Gaza Strip, defeat Hamas. Wow. What's the plan? And as I told you, what really amazes me is you don't hear this massive outcry.
There's not a massive backlash on this.
It's just, you saw in the last couple of weeks the number of people that came out, against what, Israel and the whole false, ridiculous, genocide from Israel and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That died down. I mean, maybe it'll blow up today, but I've heard nothing the last couple of days.
Haven't seen it yet.
Plus, former Biden advisor Anita Dunn testifies. We'll get that.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Looking at this here, House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer and committee lawyers met with Anita Dunn, one of President Biden's top advisors, on Thursday. During the interview, she revealed that Biden's inner circle came to the consensus that he should not take a cognitive test, concluding that it would not offer any political benefit.
Well, you're right. I would agree with that assessment.
A source familiar with what went down. We're laughing because it's like, we know this already. It's like
exactly.
And I know it's verifying what we already know and what was going on, behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But still, there's humor in it because, like, well, duh,
right.
Despite knowing Biden since the 1980s, Dunn claims she was unaware of his stutter until it was reported by the media.
Until it was reported by the media.
Remember this?
Hey, guys, I just saw on CNN. Oh, it wasn't CNN reporting it probably back then. It wasn't Jake Tapper. Until after the election.
No, what they were saying is they were reporting it because I don't know if it was CNN, but the liberal media was reporting he doesn't have a cognitive problem. He has a stutter.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Remember?
That was their defense for his cognitive issues. That's
right.
Yeah. He had both.
What a load of horse manure.
Well, it's just, but you got to keep it going, well, at least until Election Day.
Yeah.
And now, all bets are off.
And what was the interesting thing is what set off a lot of the conservative media was she came out after testifying, only Fox News was there.
Right.
There wasn't any other media there at all.
It's, there
might have been some other conservative, but nobody from the networks, nobody really covered that at all.
I saw her in that hallway, and it's, it's a dodging reporters' questions. Doesn't seem, it's just a few people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, additionally, source close to Dunn confirmed Biden's team decided against doing the Super Bowl interview because they thought that the main coverage would be about what he did with classified records and not about Biden's successes. Dunn told the committee the decision was made before the Her report came out. A second source confirmed that. So there you go. Unlike subpoenaed witnesses, Dunn appeared voluntarily for the transcribed interviews with committee lawyers. She first likely engaged with Biden when serving as communications director for the Senate Democrats campaign and the Senatorial Campaign Committee back in the late 80s. She was a central figure in shaping communications policy during the Biden White House term as well. And I remember when I first saw that, I went, well, God help us.
Yeah.
The case.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see if we, learn anything from any of this testimony, what's going to happen from there, because we brought up, you said the Russian hoax is the greatest presidential controversy in American history.
Scandal, yeah.
Right next to
Auto
pen.
Auto pen and hiding.
Which,
yeah.
of course, the auto pen thing is the entire Biden presidency. I thought to myself, I don't remember seeing auto pen on the ballot. Then again, in 2020, I didn't see Kamala Harris on the ballot. Next thing you know, she magically appeared, so why not?
All right, so this story. I love when a story comes out. And I saw this story when I woke up before I came in. Mm. And I went, you're not giving me the answers that I want. Mm-hmm. And it was Attorney General Pam Bondi on Thursday announced a $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Venezuelan President Maduro. The Justice Department and State Department announced a reward up from $25 million. The United States has accused Maduro of aiding drug cartels and street gangs, as well as operating a corrupt and repressive regime. And we see that all throughout the article here. And I'm looking for this, because this would be the question. And nobody, this one thing that ticks me off about a significant portion of the media, why is it the number one question that I have in so many stories is never answered in the stories?
Right.
Because the question would be this: why did you raise it?
Right.
What's the reason for raising it? Is he on the run? No. He's still president. So why are you raising it?
You need the fallout. You need it to happen. You need a coup.
First thing, exactly.
Yep.
You and I talked about that earlier. It was like, well, the only reason you're doing is you want the incentive to have a coup.
Well,
because you're not going to go in. It's not like you're going to go in. Either you're going to go in and get him or you're not.
Right.
The reward doesn't matter. And if you're not going to go in to get him and arrest him because he's not on the run, why are you upping it? You're trying to get somebody inside the government to start a coup.
Yeah. And the basis is, look, this guy is a narco trafficker. He's using TDA and other gangs from Venezuela to infiltrate the U.S. He's a danger. Makes me wonder how long, number one, if this will work. If it does work, how long it takes. Or do they have to up it again?
Well, it's just interesting that, the big announcement and everything else is like, well, why are you doing it?
Right.
Nobody asked the question. Why?
Right.
What's the goal of it? The goal would be to, and I'm reading different stories on it. I'm like, why? Just tell me why.
Right.
I'm not being critical.
Right.
Whatever because I don't know what the why would be, but the why can only be one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to encourage a coup.
It's the only way he
off.
can be brought to justice. I mean, if you're saying, if you keep repeating, if the administration keeps repeating, we want him brought to justice, we want him brought to justice, we want it, well, that can't happen without a coup.
Right.
And that's where it has to begin. He's not in hiding. I mean, he may be in heavily armed and secured areas.
Right.
But we know where he is.
But it's not like, okay, if you tell us where he is, the police will go and arrest him.
Uh-huh.
That's not happening.
No, it is not. Yeah, we'll see if I'm curious to see if this does anything.
All right, here we go with the big story. Israel approves Gaza City occupation plan following Netanyahu's announcement. Wow. Security Cabinet approves escalation after all-night meeting following Netanyahu's territorial control announcement. And the announcement comes after the all-night meeting with the Security Cabinet following Netanyahu's announcement that Israel planned to retake control over the entire territory, defeat Hamas completely, and then hand it off to friendly Arab forces opposed to Hamas.
Yeah.
Israel will seize full control of Gaza, defeat Hamas, and then transfer it to friendly Arab forces. And now we've known this for a couple of days, and last week into this weekend, there was still all the crap going on that Israel still needs to stop the genocide. And the discussion has always been, why did they ever give up Gaza to begin with way back when? That's been some of the, the talk. But how do you solve that problem? When you have the media, and the media is looking for anybody who looks like they haven't been fed in a while, and then using that as an example. And we know the New York Times got burned with that one kid.
Right.
The New York Times got burned big time.
Because they bought into Hamas propaganda.
Right. And so the Democrats, we talked about this, what was it, the 12 Democrats that wrote that said we need to have a Palestinian state? What you're saying is we need to have a Hamas state. They want Hamas to survive.
Right.
And we've always said the only way you get it done is you wipe out Hamas completely. How do you wipe out Hamas completely? You've got to go in, take over, completely defeat them. And then when you're in there and you're dominant, then at that point, you can legitimately be criticized if people are starving.
Yeah.
But if Hamas is in there and we know they're doing everything to starve the population of Gaza because they're the only ones that benefit from the people of Gaza starving. Mm-hmm. Israel doesn't benefit from that. There's no benefit for Israel to do that.
Right.
And so you've left them no choice. You're going to have the Democratic Party, the anti-Semitic members of the Democratic Party that's growing more every single day, the Jew-hating portion of the Democratic Party that will do anything they can to keep Hamas alive here in the United States. When that's going on, you can't win that battle. The only way you win the battle is to go in, defeat Hamas, and then if people starve, you are responsible because you control the entire area.
Once you take control of it, it's yours. You own it. And you own everything that's happening within it. If you have been able to eliminate Hamas, at that point, you own everything. And it's on you. And I don't see President Trump giving them much leeway in a situation. If the situation were to evolve to where it was, a catastrophe. In fact, I think this is it. I think this is President Trump saying, if you're going to do something, you do it. But you control everything. You own everything that happens.
Well, we knew the other day when Trump basically said, we're all in and we're all out.
Right.
I'm like, oh.
Well, and then you look at what's going on with Lebanon and the disarmament of Hezbollah. And their counsel there had said earlier that they didn't see that as realistic. It's a U.S. plan, a U.S.-led plan to disarm Hezbollah in Lebanon. And now it's been approved. What changed?
Trump.
I'm telling you, I think that trip to the Middle East, there was so much that we didn't see, of course, behind closed doors and stuff that's happened, I'm sure, communications since then. But you couple that trip to the Middle East, the bombing of Iran, and I think those governments know we can't be controlled by terrorists anymore. We can't do that. We can't let Hezbollah stand in Lebanon. This would be a huge move. By the way, the U.S. believes they'll have it done by the end of the year. If that happens and Gaza becomes peaceful as a result of the Israelis taking over, it'll be a different 2026.
866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You know, you make a good thing with a great point, I think. And just to expand on it a little bit about when Trump took his trip to the Middle East, because with Israel, the security cabinet approving the plan to occupy Gaza City, they may not be publicly saying this is great, but after the whole Iran attack, and the Middle East was just quiet on it.
Yeah.
Are we at the point? I'm asking a question, and I'm asking a question. Sometimes when people ask questions or making a statement, I'm not. I'm genuinely interested to know, is this the change? Has Trump convinced the parties in the Middle East that this should end? And are they more willing to accept it now, would be my question.
Well, these are big moves.
Yeah.
We can't say that.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You know, you look at the situation in Israel, and we'll see what happens today. We'll see what Democrats have to say, but it's been pretty quiet over the last couple of days, knowing that Netanyahu was heading and going to his own Security Council to say, "Hey, we need to." And Trump said it the other day. The administration said it the other day. We're all in or all out, which means get in or get out.
Yep.
And so they're going to get in. They're not going to get out. They're not going to let what happened on October 7th happen again.
Nope.
And so it means they're going to go in. Their goal now is to wipe out Hamas. And I do expect there's going to be pushback, but it's amazing how quiet it has been, because this story's a couple of days old, and this is outside of the false premise that Israel's committing a genocide and starving people.
Right.
And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But then this story came along. The Wall Street Journal had this yesterday. Long-suffering Lebanon will now have its best chance in many years to pull itself together. On Tuesday, the Lebanese cabinet tasked the army to draw up a plan to disarm all non-government forces, including Hezbollah, by year's end, a goal it affirmed yesterday. The plan is due by the end of the month. Can Iran's terrorist proxy stop this attempt to recapture Lebanese sovereignty? Hezbollah will do what it can to delay and obstruct, keeping the state weak and the army a bystander to the war waged from Lebanon on Iran's behalf. But after Israel embarrassed Hezbollah last autumn, eliminating the leader, nearly all of its top commanders, and much of its missile arsenal, the terrorist group has been on the defensive at home. In July, Lebanon's central bank banned financial institutions from dealing with Hezbollah's bank. The government also had success breaking Hezbollah's grip on the Beirut airport. Such efforts are especially important since the fall of Syria's Assad regime, a fruit of Hezbollah's weakness, disrupted Iran's smuggling route to Lebanon. Hezbollah's saving grace has been its ability to turn out the Shiite Muslim masses, as demonstrated at the funeral of the leader in February and municipal elections in May, as Lebanon tries to establish a monopoly on force. Hezbollah still has many cards to play, said David Dowd of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. To starve off disarmament, Hezbollah may not need to turn its black shirts or turn to its black shirts or deploy violence internally. A mere whiff of a threat of sectarian conflict could disrupt the agenda of the prime minister, as Lebanon remains scarred by the 1990 civil war. The important part is, though, it may not succeed, but it seems as if there is a willingness to try again.
Well, that's the thing, is that the council had pretty much dismissed this idea before. So something has
No.
changed.
I'm talking Lebanon here. We're talking Lebanon, not Israel. Right.
That's what I'm talking. Their council in Lebanon had really kind of dismissed the idea of disarming Hezbollah before, and now something has changed. And the question would be, what would be that change?
United States support of Israel to take out Iran's ability to have nuclear weapons and the ability to fund its proxies.
That gives Lebanon now a renewed, at least, hope that they can get this done by year's end. Because that's the only thing those are major items, but those are the big things that have changed since the talk of this began. And with the council basically turning it down before, or dismissing it.
The reason I thought you were going to Israel, you said council, and and the Security Council technically is a term for Israel. It's the cabinet for that's why I thought.
Right.
It's just they were using the words council and cabinet. That's why I said that. So.
Yeah, I saw one story that said council, but
it's a nothing burger.
Yeah. And so that's the difference in this entire equation. The table's been completely reset. The world doesn't have any questions now. Everyone knows Hamas in Gaza is the problem. And without a Hamas, you heard Netanyahu say it, exactly what I thought he was going to say. And he's really kind of said it before, but that is, we go in, we take over, we eliminate Hamas, and then we hand it over to peaceful leadership, Arab leadership in the future. That's the promise. Now, when you take that on as Israel, you own it from the moment you go in, and that is your goal. Mm-hmm. That is what you look to achieve. There's no turning back. You have to eliminate Hamas, and eventually you're going to have to turn Gaza over. Now, I don't know that anybody's put a clock on it. I'm sure there's going to be pushback. That's going to be a given. But is it any greater pushback than October 7th?
Put a clock on it. It's less than 1,000 years.
It
is the Middle East.
Yeah, because you can't really put a clock on this. But the question would be, because when he said turn it over to peaceful Arab leadership eventually, I thought to myself, that's interesting. Because who would that be? And where would the support come for that in that region? Obviously, anything backed by Iran is going to be shut down, and that's not going to be accepted. But we also already see, again, other Arab nations looking at Iran as the problem. So if Iran is being carved out as the pariah, which is apparently, this is clearly, to me, what's going on, and they've been dealt with by the U.S. in a severe blow to their nuke program. Now you look at the future. And Trump pretty much laid it out in that trip to the Middle East. And that is, we have two roads. choose which one you're going to go down. One is a peaceful coexistence, the other is not. And after he said that, he bombs Iran. Any questions? And I think when you look at that, because the question would be, if you're an Arab nation, and let's just say, okay, yeah, you hate Israel, but what are you going to do about it? You're not going to take on the U.S. You're really not going to take on Israel. You're going to keep attacking Israel. But to what end? Where does that go? Right. How far do you take that? Or do you just peacefully disagree and peacefully coexist and just say, we hate him, and then you just leave it at that?
When you look at the whole picture, and not just because I said, well, Trump is backing Israel here. Mm-hmm. But it's not just that. It's the Abraham Accords from the first term. It's Trump going over there again, and actually a lot of positive vibes when he went over last time about, does Saudi Arabia want to be part of the Abraham Accords? How many want to be a part of improving the lives of the people over there? The Abraham Accords, that was pretty mind-boggling. Nobody saw that coming. That's an absolute Trump success. Right. So it's not just the stick, it's the carrot.
Yep.
And it looks like here that the combination hopefully is changing some hearts and minds. It looks like it is. I mean, the Abraham Accords are really the first indication of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, Trump being over there with the, here's the carrot, here's the stick, here's the carrot, here's the stick. Now, the stick wiped out Iran's nuclear program. The stick is to freeze whatever assets you can and isolate Iran. And again, nothing happens overnight, but what you want at the minimum is everything moving in the right direction. And if Israel and the world accepts it and gets behind them truly defeating Hamas, and it spreads to Lebanon and the cabinet saying, let's disarm these groups. Let us get rid of Hezbollah. Now, if they decide to do that, you and I both know covertly the United States is behind that.
Oh, this is a U.S.-led plan. Yeah, there's no doubt. There's going to be.
It might not be led plan, but it's an assisted plan.
It's designed by the U.S. This is no doubt in my mind that this was put in place, that this must happen if you want our support. That you're going to have to, and I think the same with Israel. If Israel's going to deal with Hamas, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do this. Here's the plan. Here's what, we want to hear what you're going to do. You're going to do it or not. And you keep hearing, the goal here on disarming Hezbollah is end of year. And that's something the administration has mentioned before. And it makes sense. It's the common goal. And you do that with the support of the U.S. There is no doubt in my mind they're going to have intel support. They'll probably have some intel support from Israel.
What I think is really incredible is, and this is, as we have said, the who's more MAGA, the MAGA that believed that Trump was an isolationist,
mm-hmm.
which you and I just went, we have no idea where these people are coming from. We never did. There's never been an indication in our minds that Trump was an isolationist. And everything that's going on now, we all know Israel's not going to do what they're doing. Lebanon isn't going to do what they're doing unless they know that the U.S. is there to assist them, however they assist them, covertly, whatever. but it's what the United States wants. It's what Trump wants, and isolationist. We said he never is what Trump was never an isolationist. What he was is we're not going to fight your wars with our boots on the our forces' boots on the ground. Mm-hmm. That's only the last step in a war to defend the United States, and so far he's been good on that. But I have no idea why. And I will say this: I think they're all new. So many of the influencers that you see online supporting Trump are in their 30s. They're young. Yeah. They don't know. They're not paying attention. A lot of them are just rah, rah, rah. Whatever we hear, we just jump on it. And what you and I found out is it's really incredible that part of MAGA now is the MAGA people that don't pay attention to what Trump says. They have their own MAGA ideas, and you and I are waiting for someone to come out and say, I'm more MAGA than Trump. Yeah. But the isolationist stuff, you and I have no idea where that ever came from. And we've been saying that if you've been listening to the show for a consistent period of time. And the proof of that was in his first term when he took out Soleimani. Oh, you mentioned that the other day. He mentioned that to a reporter. Yeah. Soleimani, where is he? Soleimani, where is he? Basically, he's dead. Right. And he wants to do it a different way. But Trump, once he did that, all questions were gone.
Well, I think you pair taking out Soleimani with the bombing of Iran and their nukes. There can be no question. None. None whatsoever. The days are over where we're going to tolerate a world where Hezbollah exists as a power in Lebanon and Hamas is the power in Gaza. It cannot stand anymore. And the reason is because with Israel being our strongest ally in the Middle East, we cannot allow them to fall. But again, the way Trump operates, this is a very Trump-esque plan. They've been pushing for Lebanon to disarm Hezbollah pretty much since Trump got back, and that's very clear that they've been hesitant because Lebanon is basically forced into this. You see some of the European news agencies talking about that. Well, they're being forced into this. Actually, Hezbollah is forcing them into that. And with after the bombing of Iran, you've got to finish the job. The job isn't finished without taking out Hamas and Hezbollah. It isn't. That has to be the taking out of the Iranian proxies completes the task.
And degrading it's a little bit different, but still it's all a part of the circle of terrorism.
Yeah.
The Houthis.
Sure. Yeah. Yes.
In Yemen.
Right.
But it just, and the amazing thing is it all happened in the same 48 hours.
Right. Right.
Same 48 hours.
Yeah.
They doubled down on it yesterday.
Right.
Lebanon did.
Right.
This exact same day where Netanyahu got the approval of his Security Council.
Right. And that obviously is not a coincidence.
No.
Things are in motion. Make it happen. I think you make it happen. Again, the goal, the administration has mentioned it before, and now Lebanon has mentioned it. The goal is by the year end. Full disarmament of Hezbollah. And now with Israel going in and taking control of Gaza and eventually taking out Hamas, I don't think they're not going to sit around and do this willy-nilly. Israel doesn't operate that way.
I'm really interested to see what the media reaction is going to be, what we're going to be talking about when we come in Sunday night, Monday morning. What will the response be? I want to see the response from Democrats.
I think that some of that discussion is going to start in a matter of hours. I think it'll be today is going to be a big day on that.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are running Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. As always, we do appreciate it. Coming up on the show, Nancy Pelosi says sex changes for trans kids is something she's working at the national level. My God, these people are just so evil.
They're fighting for this.
Yes, we will get to that. The latest on the tariff front. What else was going on? Oh, yeah. The Trump increases federal law enforcement presence in D.C. We'll get to that. Mm-hmm. And, of course, gerrymandering. Did you read the Kimberly Strassel thing where she, on the Wall Street Journal where she actually broke it down and said Democrats got themselves into something that they shouldn't? The point is, Democrats have already gerrymandered their states as far as they can, and Republican states haven't.
Right.
And when you
Massachusetts has no Republicans.
And she broke it down. She just said, I think I forgot where I read another editorial piece that said, if they would have just left it alone and let Texas do it, and just criticize Texas, that would have been one thing. But now, because it's blown up, you have other red states considering it.
Yeah.
And the advantage for gerrymandering, now it all depends what the Supreme Court does with that here in the next year.
Right.
It may all be, for naught. But the fact is, by opening up and energizing other red states, the blue states aren't going to win this battle.
Right.
And we'll have parts of that coming up also. We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. And I just want to add this one because I just saw this on X.
Okay.
This is a Saudi analyst from Riyadh, and this is a quote from him. And again, anything like this that goes public is government approved.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia has no problem establishing relations with the state of Israel. Israel is a neighboring state, and no one can erase it. Hamas is a terrorist organization that has occupied the Gaza Strip.
Well, that's right there is the difference. It's definitely a different world. Vastly different. You're not going to. We knew there was massive change and that the world was finally waking up. I don't know what took everybody so long when it came to Iran. But you look at all the international responses after Iran. Well, this is on Iran. This is on Iran. And then you heard some of that here recently with Hamas. Now, the atrocities that are going on, it's the fault of Hamas. And now you see this move both with Hezbollah and Hamas in Lebanon and in the Gaza Strip. And it's happening now simultaneously. There is a very different tone. You're not seeing the pushback because everybody knows it. I mean, you look at Canada and France. We're going to recognize a Palestinian state if this doesn't happen or that doesn't happen. Yeah, well, you don't live there. You don't live under the threat of Hamas.
Well, and that's what do they say on X when you say something and it doesn't go over well?
It aged badly?
It aged badly, yeah. This didn't age well.
No.
That didn't age well because that was said, late last week, earlier this weekend maybe?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that point's moot.
Yep.
That's gone.
That's gone.
Because you take that argument out of it, there's no quote Palestinian state.
Nope.
And I say quote because there would be no such thing as a Palestinian state
Nope.
if there was ever a Palestinian state.
Exactly.
Because a Palestinian state would be an Hamas state.
Right.
And everybody knows it.
And
And that-
again, you have a scenario where Netanyahu himself has said, eventually turn it over to Arab-led forces for a peaceful coexistence. Right now, that's just basically a pledge, but everybody knows the atrocities are at the hands of Hamas. And in Lebanon, they know. You cannot have a peaceful coexistence with Hezbollah. So that's where we are. And you either keep living in this insanity or you end it. That's it. And you can't change that. I mean, that's the reality. Anybody who wants to look at the landscape right now and paint some kind of different picture is probably Hamas or Hezbollah. They're probably part of their organization.
Or one of the 12 Democrats that sent the letter, I think, to Rubio or whatever.
Exactly.
To somebody.
Right.
That was so stupid. We mentioned it this week. We're like, shut up.
I don't know what I'm with you. I don't know what they're planning in terms of their response here with Israel announced, because this was a two-tier move. I mean, they announced it and then re-announced it.
Right.
In terms of Israel.
Right. So was that initially a trial balloon? Was that a trial balloon to see the support, to make sure they had the support of the administration? I knew that when the Trump administration said, all in or all out.
Yeah. Right.
Well, there's only going to be an all in. And you and I talked about it when it happened.
Right.
We said,
You're not going to walk away from Hamas.
We're not going to they're not going to have an all out.
Right. You're not going to just leave them standing.
Okay, let's just go back. We're just going to go back and just leave it the way it is and let Hamas regrow again.
Right.
That wasn't going to happen.
Right.
As soon as that came out of the United States, you and I said, is that the de facto permission from the United States to go in and finish the job?
Right. And there really is, again, something I've been saying since October 7th, and that is very clear. There are only two sides. There's no middle ground.
I just don't think people understand how big this is.
No, it is huge.
If you're unfortunately, I may have a different perspective that comes from my wisdom. Yeah, that's it. Wisdom.
Yeah, those of us old enough that have lived so many years.
Okay, all right, not wisdom, age.
It's age, and no one would know if you told me. If you told me just a few years ago the U.S. would be bombing Iran, I'd say, well, all right.
And what amazes me,
duck and cover, because it's over from there. But it is over. But what's over is Iran having proxies and Iran being a threat to every peaceful interest in the world, not just the U.S., not just Israel.
And I really do wonder, because I know it's had an impact. And this goes back to the Saudi royal family, going back 10, 12, 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
And you and I reported it, where they said, we can't continue going the way we're going. We cannot continue being an oil state alone. We have to diversify. We have to become an economy that deals with other nations. And if we deal with other nations, it means we have to be more tolerant of other nations. And since then, because the United States has become the world's super energy power and can only continue to go in that direction, they've lost the clout that they used to have, which means you've got to diversify and you've got to have other major. You've got to be like the United States.
Yep.
Millions of different businesses that we have here.
Yep.
That's what you've got to do. And I just wonder if there's an awakening that they realize that even if they're in their autocratic states, in order to retain power, they have to become more tolerant, more capitalist, and deal with other cultures.
Well, and I said years ago that here in the States, we had lost our will for war. You know, that the public sentiment had turned. There was, after October of 2001, when we went into Afghanistan following 9/11, you know, I mean, everything just seemed to kind of die down after that. And as the years went on, it was like, okay. But also, I would say, too, it's generational, saying, well, wait a minute. We don't need to go to war. And by the way, Trump isn't a wartime president. He's taken out Soleimani. He took out ISIS in eastern Afghanistan in the spring of 2017. He took out Iran's nukes and set them back years in their program. And he's made those huge moves, but he didn't send, thousands and thousands of troops into war, because getting the support for something like that, the public support for something like that, is a huge task. If George W. Bush in August of 2001 had said, we're going to send troops in to take out al-Qaeda, that would have been a very different situation. A preemptive strike wouldn't have had the support that it did after 9/11.
I mean, we did,
for obvious reasons.
We did.
We believe it should have happened. Yeah,
we did.
Yep.
Trump did a preemptive strike on Iran.
Yep.
Just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did he do that and get support of the American public, the unbelievable that he did that. But what's even more unbelievable has been the response of the world, which has not been, especially with all the anti-Semitic Jewish hatred that exists at least in quarters around the world and in the United States that's extremely loud. When this all happened within a week.
Yeah.
And you and I said it's going to be interesting to see, like we just said now, interesting to see what it's going to be like when we come in Sunday night, Monday morning. What's the narrative going to be? But we had said, will we be talking about this a week from now? If we're not talking about bombing Iran's nuclear sites a week from now, and if there isn't criticism, there's been a change in the world.
Well, it's very different, because think about, like, after 9/11, going into Afghanistan. The first move into Afghanistan was a CIA operation, not a Pentagon operation. It was intel. And they were struggling to get air support from the Pentagon to find Osama bin Laden and take him out. And then finally we sent troops into Afghanistan, and that changed. If Trump had said we're sending troops into Iran, that would have been a very different game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without question.
And that would have been a very different, okay, what are you doing? What's the plan? And how is this going to work? And, well, with both the advent of different technologies and abilities, and which enhances greatly and changes the intel game completely, then you've got a very different scenario where you don't have to be a wartime president, and you don't have to send in thousands of troops. You get in, you do the job, and I think that's what now President Trump in the U.S. is asking of Israel and Lebanon. We did our part. You guys need to take out their proxies yourselves. We'll help you, I'm sure, with intel and everything else, but I'm guessing in fact, Israel's going to be helping Lebanon with their intel on Hezbollah.
I think it's really an underreported story because, again, everything is top secret. The cooperation between intelligence services.
Oh, yeah.
Across the world,
Yeah.
the United States, the Five Eyes, but also the cooperation. I mean, what Israel has done with some of the terrorist groups, with the whole thing of, remember the beepers and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is stuff that's just unprecedented. And the intelligence you needed to do it, the cooperation between the United States, Israel, and who knows who else, to not only take out all those nuclear sites, but effectively and very efficiently taking out the scientists and taking out generals in the military. That kind of stuff is just, it's unbelievable, the precision in which it was done. And you cannot, I think, underestimate the fear that puts into other terrorist groups out there, that all they need is the will to do it.
Yeah, right.
And instead of enabling, when you say, no, we're not, as Biden did, as Obama did, instead of enabling, because it was always, well, it's either boots on the ground or enabling. No, it's not.
No, it's not. No.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We're Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up following the top of the hour, the latest on the gerrymandering, the president, and the latest on tariffs, and the Apple deal, which we never got to yesterday, which we will. But overall, it's, for me, and again, this may be an age thing. Most Americans probably just bypasses them. The situation in Israel and Lebanon with Hezbollah, and Israel now going to clear out Gaza. But these things are really unbelievable. And on the same day, the representative from Saudi Arabia say, "Oh yeah, we're willing to make all kinds of deals with Israel. They're a neighbor, and Hamas is a terrorist organization." To hear this all in one day, and to experience and see what I've observed over the last half century, was really an incredible day yesterday.
Yeah,
and
really
credit
was.
the Trump administration for it.
Yeah, full on. Yeah.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. We were talking about the whole Israel thing, Lebanon announcing they want to get rid of Hezbollah by the end of the disarm Hezbollah by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Which
right.
I guess would be how do you disarm them if you don't get rid of them?
All right. Thank you, because I had the same question.
This isn't Canada.
Right.
Please bring your weapons in. Here we go. Take our weapons.
We'll allow you to protest.
Yes.
We'll give you a sidewalk to protest on.
Unless you're a trucker.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the main question. Because, all right, you disarm Hezbollah, but Hezbollah still exists. With Israel going into Gaza, if their goal is achieved, then Hamas will not exist. They'll be gone. With Hezbollah, they are, we haven't heard anything like that. The question would be, well, what existence do they have if they're not armed? They don't have power if they're not armed, and if they don't have power, then do they exist? And
what you're saying is you doubt that in a year from now you hear about the pacifist wing of Hezbollah? Is that what you're saying?
They'll all be on TikTok, TikTok. It'll be the Hezbollah TikTok account. It's like, you guys,
no,
you won't believe it.
The Hezbollah influencers,
yeah,
will take to social media,
and they're all crying. You guys, they took our guns. Who does this? They're sipping on a Starbucks.
I'm from Hezbollah, and they're making us pay off our college loans.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But that's good Trump. Here's more good Trump.
Right.
Before we get to the Trump, and that's the call. I don't know. There's going to be this. I have no idea where it's going to end up because of the courts. But he's absolutely right to call for a census that bases a census on U.S. citizens and people legally here.
Right.
Now, I've got no problem if a census counts everybody and you separate the citizens from the illegal immigrants, but I have no trust that Democrats would ever do that. And we have no idea where the courts are going to go, but there is no way in hell, and I don't believe the Founding Fathers ever believed at all that the census that decides the makeup of Congress and congressional districts should include illegal immigrants.
Right.
No way. There's no way.
Well,
and
can
Trump
you imagine
he's absolutely right for bringing this
in
forward.
1790. Wow. If the Brits want to come over, we'll count them too. What? No. No, because the question is, what is the representation? What is the basis for the representation? For the citizens. Now, the left would love to push this and say, no, they represent all people. No, they don't represent non-citizens. This is why, for years they've been pushing for to give illegals the right to vote. Oh, they'd love that.
Yeah. Nope.
Until they come out pro-Trump. Illegals for Trump.
Well, you saw that. The guy down in Houston had all of his Trump businesses.
Right.
He's now, I'm not sure where he is now, but ICE got him. He overstayed his visa.
Right.
And it was like I just saw the store, Trump Burgers.
Right.
Biggest Trump fan.
Right.
But he's absolutely right for saying it. And, if you word it correctly, to me, that's a 97-3 issue. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's a 75-25 issue because 25% of Democrats want, well, no, it may be a 60-40 issue. Remember the poll that was done last week? What was the percentage of Democrats that wanted illegal immigrant criminals to remain on the streets? It's not a 70-30.
No, because that was like 60%. Was it 60?
It was like 60. I forgot what the number was, but it was. We were like, oh my God, they're not saying illegal immigrants should be allowed to stay, or DACA if you've been here for a while, or well, you can't be kicking people out that have been here 40 years, whatever. No, they were talking specifically illegal immigrant criminals. It was mind-boggling the number of Democrats that said, no, we believe that they should be able to stay and run free on our streets. And we don't mean that the illegal immigrant is the criminal part of it. No, these are criminals that have committed felonies, misdemeanors, completely outside their illegal presence in the United States based on congressional law there.
Mm-hmm.
And they still want them to, nope, they should stay. And we're just like, wow, that's just, and that's one of the reasons that they're going to continue to lose on that one. But the president absolutely right to do it. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know what the courts will say, on that. Now, you're supposed to do a census every 10 years. I don't believe the law. I will double check this and get back to you on it, but I don't think the law mandates that it only must be once every 10 years.
Yeah.
The same with redistricting. People
Right,
just assume
right.
redistricting, well, no, because it comes after the census, but it doesn't have to.
Right.
And so I thought it was great that he brought it up. On the, we've had a ton of good Trump today. And the bad Trump is what it's always been, the tariff stuff. Now that the tariffs took effect, was it last night?
Yeah.
Across the board, he posted on Truth Social, the money flowing into America. He's still throwing out, sorry, MAGA people, he's still throwing out the horse manure that foreign countries pay the tariffs. He said the money's flowing into the United States. No, it's not. It's coming from American manufacturers and American buyers, and it is going to the government. It's going from productive uses into the government.
Yes.
And if you don't believe me, believe the president's own Treasury Secretary yesterday when he had to answer the question, not the hypothetical, because the administration at times have tried to do the hypothetical like a minimum wage. Well, no, minimum wage raises cost of doing business. Not necessarily. Not if the company eats the cost of it. Yeah, but they don't.
No.
They don't. And the reality is, you see it. The 18,000 fast food jobs lost when California raised the minimum wage. Boom, these things happen. As we've always said, there are justifications for putting tariffs on other countries. We've gone through that already. There's justification. Don't say it makes an economy better. You may have a goal to increase manufacturing down the road, but the concern now, and you saw it yesterday, the concern by a lot of economic analysts out there, what is Trump trying to do? What's the purpose of it? Because if the purpose is to bring manufacturing back to the United States, the Japanese deal didn't do it. The Japanese deal made it so it's less expensive to purchase a car from Japan than one that's made in North America with way more American parts. The whole thing with Apple yesterday. And this, after the Apple thing, you saw it, economists saying, what is he doing? It's almost like he just wants a PR win. He's going to invest, Apple's going to invest $600 billion into the United States. Well, they made a $500 billion promise in January. So it's $100 billion. And as the analyst pointed out, everything that they do on America, nobody ever knows. You don't know. There is no documentation for what they spend in the United States. Right. They don't list it. It's secret.
Right.
They don't tell you what they're going to do so they can make the promise if they want.
Well, by all accounts, this looks like basically Tim Cook moving in to give President Trump a headline and say, you get your victory lap on this, you can announce $600 billion. But it's not anything that they already haven't pledged.
Right. Or that they weren't really planning. Well, okay, we'll throw $100 billion in, but there's no guarantee on that. And the other thing was, yes, the announcement that all glass for the iPhone and the tablets will be made in the United States by Corning. It already is.
Yeah.
Before this ever happened.
Right.
And when you look at it, if you're not going to raise, initially what he wanted to do, remember, those tariffs he put on might have brought manufacturing back to the United States and raised prices significantly. Because of the Treasury bills, he had to back off. And now the thing that they're promoting the most, which is the most bizarre thing ever that I've seen from Republicans fiscally. Now, I will say this. The conservative portion of the Republican Party is completely quiet on this. The populist portion, which is led by a lot of the 30-something influencers, are all jumping for joy that the taxes are being raised. It's another $150 billion. It's another $150 billion, another $150 billion. And it's coming from foreign companies. And the president posted last night that it was coming, again, flowing into America. That's horse manure.
Right.
Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, talked about it yesterday. Here we go.
There has been some confusion. So we've got a tariff of, 50% on Brazil now, I think. And so if someone here, an importer, wants to buy Brazilian products today or tomorrow and import them, they're going to pay 50% to the Treasury. And so who writes that check?
Well, a couple of things. First, we could have substitutions, so there's very little that only comes from Brazil. It could come from Argentina, it could come from...
right, but assuming it does come from Brazil, say, or it comes from any country with a tariff, who writes the check to the Treasury?
Well, the check is written to the person who receives it at the dock in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
That's the importer. It's a tax on America. And I just want to, if you're going to do it to bring manufacturing back, don't bullcrap the American public.
Right.
And Trump at the moment is bullcrapping the American public.
Yep.
That's our point. What is your point of tariffs? We've seen manufacturing, the manufacturing index, contracting. They're picking and choosing what they want to believe. Now, you and I looked at the statistics, from any statistic that comes from the government, and we've been critical of the BLS for the longest time. But Trump was, they're making the case that there was fraud without any evidence. Yet, on the BLS, when it came to the illegal immigrants, losing their jobs, 1.7 million, he's promoted that as legit. Well, you can't pick and choose. How do you know that's legit and the other ones aren't?
And what happens if when her replacement is in place at the BLS, the numbers don't change.
Yep.
Or they get worse.
So there's Scott Bessent right there, the Treasury Secretary. The importer pays the tax. We all know that. Stop lying to the American public. Don't believe these 30-something influencers who are cheerleaders for anything from the administration and then have to back off when they don't get what they want, and Trump isn't an isolationist and isn't whatever, that they sit there and they just bow down because they want to get the clicks no matter what, but they're really, when it comes to financial things, completely financially illiterate.
Well, because then if you look at the Apple deal, it's a lot like the deal with Japan. You look at it and go, oh, well, wait a minute. They were already heavily invested, and not much is changing here. So there's this victory parade, and with Japan, what was it? Victory. We got a deal.
Yeah.
But then the analysis was very quick. The math showed that, wait a minute, this means that in some cases, importing a Japanese car will be cheaper than buying an American-made car.
Or a North American car with much more American parts in
because of
in
the
it.
other tariffs.
Right. Because the steel and aluminum tariffs make it more expensive to produce in North America than to produce a Japanese vehicle. And the administration knows this and hasn't changed it and said, we're not going to change the steel tariffs.
So are we trying to trying to shut out imports?
Right. What's the purpose?
Are you trying to increase production domestically or not? Yeah. Where's the incentive?
And it's almost like when they were going to put the initial tariffs on, that might have worked. But the Treasury bills, as we saw, were going to tank. And Apple, they were worried about a financial collapse because of it, and that's the reality of economics. And as we said before, people believe economics is political opinion, and it's not.
No, it isn't. And, with the Apple deal, yeah, Apple got a 5% bump on their stock, and then the following day, another 3%. And why is that? Because Apple handled that probably the only way that they could.
Well, they really didn't give up anything. They didn't give up anything.
You stand with the president in the Oval Office and allow him to promote something that's really not new news.
Right.
And that looks like a victory because the headline looks like a victory.
Which means, what do the supporters of the Republican Party want from all of this?
What
does the voter want?
What is the ultimate goal of all of this?
Right. Because we know what initially was said. We don't know what it is now. It's because the number one thing they promote is that they're taxing the American public.
Right.
That's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, that the Democrats are saying tariffs are taxing the American public, and Republicans are going, no, they're not. The foreign companies are paying for it, or foreign governments. No, they're not.
No,
it's amazing. 866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at JJ Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on speed and space management. When driving, you need to manage the space around your vehicle so that there's enough space to allow you to adjust when traffic conditions change. The space ahead of your vehicle is the most important and one of the easiest to monitor and adjust as needed. One rule of thumb is to allow at least 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length at speeds below 40 miles per hour. At greater speeds, add an additional second. It's impossible to keep other drivers from tailgating you, but there are some things you can do to make it safer, such as increasing your following distance, avoiding quick lane changes, and slowing down. There are also several things you should do to ensure that there is plenty of space between the side of your vehicle and other vehicles. Don't hug the center line, avoid hugging the right side of the road, and avoid traveling alongside other vehicles in strong winds, especially crosswinds. This tip was brought to you by JJ Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. So I guess that would be my thing is, all along it was promoted that, that we need a tariff in order to bring industry back to the United States. Well, we see so many of these trade deals are doing the opposite. And our concern is, what is the goal? Is it to raise money? Is it to pay off the debt? Is it to cut checks to people? Is it to bring manufacturing back? We don't know what the goal of the president is now anymore. We used to.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, gerrymandering time. Kimberly Strassel from the Wall Street Journal. Democrats gerrymander flub. I just got to read the first sentence. Watching Democrats blow up over Texas's redistricting plan is like watching Flick respond to that triple dog dare in A Christmas Story. It didn't end well for Flick, and the Democrats may have just stuck their tongue to the frozen flagpole. It started with a simple war of words. You're full of beans, and so's your old man. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Republicans, keen to improve their midterm chances, are aggressively redistricting Texas with an eye to gaining 5 U.S. House seats. Democrats, furious that Republicans might do what Democrats do, erupted in feigned outrage, condemning a partisan, craven political power grab attempt by the President of the United States, in the words of the Massachusetts governor. If left to that, Republicans would probably have contained their cynical gerrymander ambitions to Texas, maybe even suffered voter blowback for the partisan move. The left's mistake was to take the dare and escalate. Democratic governors fanned out to declare they now had no choice but to redraw their own lines It's a mystery what Democrats thought they'd accomplish beyond provoking Republicans to escalate further. Now, here's the important part here. In a nationwide redistricting race, Democrats don't have a lot of room. They've already redistricted the dickens out of their states. Where do they think Republicans got the idea? Consider New Jersey, where Democrats control 9 of 12 congressional seats, despite 45% of House votes going to Republicans. Illinois, 14 of 7 seats, though Democrats won, but 53% of the vote. Oregon, 5 of 6 seats, despite a GOP vote of 42%. Or Ms. Healy's Massachusetts, where Democrats control all 9 congressional seats. But here's the math for you. Provided by the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee. So this is from the Democrats' own analysis that shows how effective the party has been at gerrymandering. States with Democratic state legislative majorities currently control the lines for about 35 GOP states. All that's left after their aggressive maps, 35. By contrast, Republican state legislative majorities control the lines of 55 Democrat seats. The difference is a GOP advantage in the war Democrats have escalated. Whoops. Add to this the many blue states that have complicated their redistricting efforts by adopting independent commissions. Democrats recognized that mistake years ago and tried to remedy it with national legislation, putting such commissions on every state, but Congress didn't pass it. So Governor Gavin Newsom has concocted a plan that requires first a supermajority of California lawmakers and then voters then themselves to sideline the commission they embraced in 2008. Could Democrats eke out a few more seats? Sure. They're skilled at this and at least as ruthless as Republicans, but Democrats are in trouble if Republicans exercise their comparative advantage. Republicans were already redrawing lines in Ohio, where they could gain 2 to 3 seats. The party is now actively looking to redraw Florida, Missouri, Indiana, South Carolina, and New Hampshire. It may also use redistricting to shore up seats like that of retiring Representative Don Bacon of Nebraska, denying Democrats pickup opportunities. The Democrats' aggressive throwdown, both their redistricting threats and the walkout of Texas lawmakers in an effort to thwart a quorum, is also challenging the political dynamic. Many state-level Republicans would prefer to leave the maps alone, given potential anger from centrist voters and legal battles, but with the base getting worked up by the issue, the pressure is growing to act. In Texas, lawmakers were unenthusiastic about a map fight until President Trump made it an issue, and now they're issuing civil arrest warrants for Democrats who fled the state. Well, one of the concerns is, and again, everything here is a hypothetical because it's future elections, is that because they've talked about the 4 out of the 5 districts would be Hispanic, majority minority districts, which, again, the Supreme Court may axe that out completely. And then what does that do? What does that do for the future? I don't even know where we go with that particular point, how you would figure that out. But the concern is, or the one concern I saw is that the big change came for the vote for Trump. In a midterm election, it's not Trump voting, or you're not voting for Trump in the midterm. Was the Hispanic movement for Trump a reflection of a movement towards Republicans? That's the question to be answered in a midterm election where a lot fewer people would vote in the state of Texas.
Yeah, I mean, and again, only time will tell. We can only find out after the midterm election.
Exactly,
and,
right.
The question will be, well, first of all, It depends heavily on the campaigning, the amount of campaigning done by the president in order to protect his party.
But turnout will still be less.
Turnout is always less.
Right.
But if you have a very healthy campaign by President Trump next year, you can punch those numbers up. But you have to have everything in place. Number one, you have to have a solid economy. You have pretty much everything else. But you have to make this, the Republicans are going to have to make this about Trump. Everything's going to have to be about Trump. That wasn't the case in his first term, going into his first midterm. He just didn't have that party support. It wasn't as wide as it is today. But if he's going to maintain that support, then he's going to, get out there. Because what you don't hear this time around, well, you don't hear it as much. You've heard it a couple of times. But this whole, swamp thing, or we need to primary this Republican or that Republican or whatever, you're just going to have to maintain the votes. You got to maintain the seats. And that's going to require a heavy presence by the president next year. So in order to make it work, you're going to have to make it about Trump, and in order to try and punch those numbers up.
Again, that's why, when we earlier talked about the tariffs, like I said, the one concern we have, the one thing that could allow Democrats to win is where the economy is going to be next year. At this particular point. And right about now, whatever the economy is now, I think decides who wins, because the Democrats, and this is one thing that is tough to measure right now, but the Democrats have gotten so much more incredibly radical that the public isn't stupid. They know why they voted for Trump. The question is, will that, and we hope it will that, no matter what, if the economy isn't where you expect it to be, or if the economy is where you expect it to be, is everything else where the Democrats stand so insane that it will still push Republicans over the top? But as we know, we saw it in the last election, the economy matters.
Yep.
And you can promote whatever you want. If the public doesn't feel it, doesn't matter what you're promoting or what you're hyping on the economy. It's the one thing you can, in the past, you can hit abstract ideas, whatever. That's all gone now.
Yeah.
We've gone through a half century of, well, if we do it this way, now we basically know as a society what works and doesn't work.
Right.
And you can't BS the public on the economy. If you tell them it's great, always remember the lesson of Biden. And I guess it's a new lesson for anybody new to politics. You can't BS the public that the economy is great if people don't feel it in their own personal life.
Well, with the economic reports, again, we point out the fact that the buying public has already been through that. Those reports are all looking back. So whatever's going on with the economy, they feel it in real time. And you can come in and slice this number or slice this report and promote this number or this report. You can't fool the American public. They're paying for it every day. They're going through it. They're either living through the layoffs or whatever's going on in the jobs market. They're experiencing that in real time. And that's something that you have to get ahead of.
Well, I mean, it was, you and I were just, last year at this time, we're just dying laughing. What's wrong? Why doesn't the public see the economy is great?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because their economy isn't.
Right.
And their economy, their personal economy, is the economy.
Right.
And you can't pick and choose numbers and say, but this number's great.
Well, and that these prices for these things are coming down. It doesn't matter. You can't. Yeah. This is the problem that they've had, that has been around for ages, and that is, you're not experiencing what they're experiencing in real time, and trying to repaint their reality is a moot point. You're not going to be able to do that. So what you have to do is change their reality ahead of that election season. That's the goal. Make America great again. Make the economy great again. Make everything to where, and that's the question. You know, a lot of people are saying, well, he's trying to get all these deals done, these tariff deals done, so that they can get, essentially, you get them done by October, November, you've got a full year to go and campaign for the midterm. Well, you've got to get them done and then leave them alone. Because every movement changes the marketplace. And you better hope what you put in place by then is going to work. Because, again, you're only going to learn that in hindsight. You know, when you're not living through it every day, and they're not. You know, I think Trump is pretty aware, as aware as you can be, but he's not out there shopping at Walmart trying to decide, can I buy back to school or do I have to pay the bills? That applied to Biden. That applies to any of them.
Well, it was laughable, their ignoring of inflation.
Right.
You know, and the justification. And first being wrong that it wasn't going to happen. And then, remember when they got the first bad report, and remember, who was it on the Biden team that said, well, it's good that inflation is going up because that means people will be spending more money.
Right.
That was the worst take.
Right.
I'm sorry. That was the worst. If you're looking for what I view as one of the worst takes ever on economic issues, that was the one.
You can't win that. You're not going to win that. You know, and again, it's what you look to get ahead of. So you better be, again, if the idea and the analysis or those speculating are right, that the goal is get it out of the way, get all the trade deals done this year, by the time we go into fourth quarter this year, so that you have a full year to campaign for the midterm. Well, whatever you're going to put in place by then has to be the right thing.
Well, as we said again, what is the goal of the trade deal?
Exactly. You better know what the outcome is going to be. And there can't be any denial. You're not going to be able to cherry pick. You can't cherry pick reality with the American public, with the buying public, with those families having to make those choices.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app now. Why? Because our show ends in an hour, and when our show ends, our show becomes our podcast. So if you aren't able to catch a show one night, well, then you can go to our podcast. Yep, that's right.
It's right there for you.
A lot of people stop working overnight since they can't listen to one of our great radio stations, and so they listen during the day, and that's wonderful. We make it so easy for you. And if for some reason you can't listen to one of our great radio stations overnight while we're on the air, for whatever reason, we stream all 5 hours live on our Red Eye Radio app.
Very simple.
I feel like I'm naked.
It's free. What?
I feel like I'm naked. I can't get into X. I can't get into social media during the show on my computer.
Well, you know what I feel like when I can't get into X? Fully clothed. You weirdo.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.